So I got some new mountain bike pedals, some Shimano's, so I can put them on the gravel bike slash road bike. And I will swap these out depending whether I'm riding road. If I've got my road wheels on, I'll have my road pedals, but for this gravel setup, because I'm getting the bike ready for the Noosa Enduro this weekend, which I'm doing on the gravel setup, I'll chuck these on.
See ya.
Have a good ride. See you in an hour.
Hour 15.
Hour 15. Don't forget that 15. So what you can do with these pedals is adjust the spring. So see this spring here? So by adjusting this Allen key, you can make it easier or harder. So what I do is I wind it all the way to its hardest setting, which is there, and then I back it off 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's pretty stiff, that's the way I like it. A little bit of grease on the thread. And this is a right hand. Trusty pedal spanner. And on she goes. All right, let's talk cassettes. So here is an 1140, and on the front here, that chain ring, which is just a single, is a 44. So this gravel race I'm doing on Saturday has quite a few hills in it apparently. So 1140, what I've got now is a 1146, you can see down here. So because I've got this RX derailleur, which actually has a clutch on it, hopefully it'll go all the way up to the 46. So let's chuck that on and see how that's going to go. Alright, so this wheel, these are the new gravel wheels, it's been getting a bit creaky, so I'm just going to do a few things to hopefully eliminate these noises. So one thing I like to do is I just put a little drop of lube in every nipple. So obviously there's a thread in there, and this just moistens everything up. So that's something I've always done with my bikes. It's a pretty simple thing to do. Now what you've got to be really careful with, of course, is that you don't get any on your rotor, because if that rotor gets oil on it, it'll soak into your brake pads and you'll never get the squeal out. The only thing that fixes it is new brake pads. And then on this free hub body, I'll also put a bit of grease before I put the new cassette on. This is just a multi-purpose bike grease, nothing too fancy. And just spread it on. That's all it needs, just enough to stop any creaking that may happen between the cassette, because when it's steel on steel, if it's not lubricated, it just make these annoying noises. And I'll also put a tiny little bit on the thread here when I put that lock nut back on. Brand new shiny Cassette. So the other thing I bought recently is this Parks work stand. And what I like about it is it doesn't matter how wide your seat post is, it fits everything. It was expensive, but it's brilliant. It works, it's stable. I had a cheap, shitty one previously, and it was always awkward to work with, where this one's just brilliant. So, also, this bench is a fairly new addition, and just gives me a little bit of working space, because as you can see in the garage, we're pretty packed. The surf skis and the bikes and the scooter and everything else. So just doing these two little things has made it much, much better for me, much easier. So yeah, it's really easy to adjust, and Park tools really do make the best bike stuff. That's the truth of it. All right, the moment of truth. Turn this clutch back on. Will it get up here into the big 46? Let's have a go. Oh, looking pretty good. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna have to adjust the B screw. So what's happening here? So the small jockey wheel here is just hitting against this 46. So there's this B screw adjuster, which is here. And by adjusting that, that should pull it out a little bit. So let's see if that's gonna work. So as I adjust this, the derailleur will move out. It's quite stiff actually. You just need it enough so it's not hitting. Doesn't need that much of an adjustment. And that's it. It's done. The other thing I put on this, for anyone who's thinking of giving this a crack, this part here is called a road link. Extends. Normally the derailleur attaches here, but this is an extension. And what that enables you to do is run a wider range cassette. And remembering this derailleur was designed for Paris-Roubaix over the cobblestones for really rough roads and also a wide range cassette. So this is a cassette that's designed for this. But anyway, I've adjusted that. You can see now there's a gap between this jockey wheel and the 46 tooth. And that's what this B screw adjuster does. So I reckon that's going to work beautifully. So I'm changing my head stem bolts. You can see these pathetic little short things is what comes in the stem. And I'm going to replace them with these. The reason being, when I'm gravel riding, there's a lot more stress on the handlebars. And the handlebars keep sort of tilting down. So look what I did, putting a new bolt in, and I broke it. So I'm actually going to go get some of these stainless bolts because they're much stronger, and replace all those in the head stem. I'm going to do something here. This is a 130mm stem, and it's a 20 degree, so it slopes right down. I've just found this stem in my parts box. It's a 110, so it's a bit shorter, and it's only an 8 degree. So it's going to be something like that. So it'd be a little bit shorter and a little bit higher, which I think is going to give me better handling when I'm in the gravel and the rough stuff. So I might give that a go. So there's that new stem on. I'll adjust the height and everything in a second, but I reckon that's going to make the handling much better. But I'll show you another thing I noticed. So I usually run my seat all the way forward, and it's moved. So this is why you got to check your bike. So usually the back of the clamp's back here. So what happens for me is if my seat's too far backwards, too far back, it really loads up my quads, and I've been noticing my quads are getting sore. I don't know why I didn't check that. So let me move that forward again. So why it's important to either get your bike serviced or service it yourself. All right, not too heavy-handed or I'll strip another bolt. What I need to buy is a torque wrench. So that's going to be my next tool to buy, because what I'm doing is just as I need tools, I'm buying them, and I'm buying good ones. Like this Park 3-way Allen key. Love it. But I just have to be really careful that I don't strip these bolts. Alright, I reckon that's pretty good. So new stem. Alright, let's move the seat forward again. So I reckon that moved about 20mm. Yeah, about there. Alright, let's see how it feels. Good. Feels short, but it should. Yeah, that's good. Done. Ready to conquer a gravel race.